I'm the art installer, the curator for the exhibitions here at Town Hall, and a member of the board of the Taos Arts Council. The council interconnects the artists and arts organizations of Taos, Taos County, and northern New Mexico with each other, local citizens, and visitors. Although we're a young organization, we strive to increase the visibility of our arts community, thereby benefiting the entire area aesthetically, intellectually, and economically. I'd like to acknowledge and thank the organization whose visual works are featured tonight and also on view through June 14th, I believe. That's the Taos National Society of Watercolors. Their inspiring work is reflected in the poets who I understand don't have a formal group, so I'm just going to call them Northern New Mexico poets. Okay, many from Taos, but many from elsewhere. And I also want to thank the town of Taos for providing the space for public art to be enjoyed by everyone who comes to Town Hall, and for tonight providing us with this meeting room for the program, Art Blooms from Poetry. I want to give a special shout out to our board members, Andrea Watson, Joan Ryan, who served as co-curators for the Ekphrasis for poetry event tonight, and also acknowledge Leslie Ullman, who was a co-curator for that effort. Now I get to share the definition of Ekphrasis.
Of what?
Ekphrasis. E-K-P-H-R-A-S-I-S. Ekphrasis. Is that right? Am I saying it correctly? Thank you. Perfect. It's the response of one art form to another, often poetry to various works of art. It comes from the Greek, ek, E-K, and phrasis, and they are out and speak respectively. And we are just very appreciative of the poets who took their assignments, created poems from the work, and then are ready to speak out tonight for you. As the poets come up to read, I'm going to ask the artist whose work is illustrated to stand. Okay? That helps me remember who all the artists are. But also some of the poets perhaps need to put a face with the work once more. So without further ado, I'd like to ask Jen Akampora to come forward with the first poem for tonight. And I'll ask Lori Malik to please stand so we know who the artist is.
Hello. My poem is called Set. This is my painting. Hello. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we did.
Okay. My poem is titled Set, in response to this painting by Lori Malik. Sundown, water in the desert, song of springs and sky and stone. One bright second poised, potent, this moment on the lip of night. Cycle through eons like water through sea and cloud and earth. A gift. Here only once before the stars take everything. Thank you.
clear day, I should have reconfirmed their presence. It might have been the last day. I'm a failed witness. A moment passes, another, a third. The sun doesn't really set or the wolf moon rise. There are no edges to contemplate. Yesterday, I saw the translucent, waxing moon suspended near the peak, the sun facing it across the river, thick rectangles of ice strewn along banks, a landscape's achievement or catastrophe. I could go back today, park somewhere, look for eagles and the moon, write poems, but I'm lost in clouds. Not metaphorical clouds, real ones that erase sky and distance, conceal mountains behind veils disguised as pure fact. A rabbit dashes, shadowless, across patchy snow. Imagine a pounding heart. Time and I mean nothing to it. Even if I stood for an hour at the window, listened for the silence of souls and mountains, it comes down to this. I cannot sort out imbalance, put it all right.
And my artist is Susan Keel. Show yourself, Susan. I'm just going to tell you very briefly that I called her up on the phone because I thought I knew this exact spot in Arroyo Hondo, and she said it was from North Carolina. I was just The fence will fall by the weight of its age or the nudge of a new blued wood, purple shadow puddles, quiet companions to its lean. Be still, hear the echo of ancient coyote call hum the barbed wire. Messages from the past to the future, through crosstalk of crows, above drone of wind. They know this fence, worn from years of keeping out, keeping in. They know blue hills, folded into the haze of the faraway calm.
I'm Phyllis Hodge, and the artist is Bill Barron. So nice to meet you. And the title of Bill's piece is Spring Thaw, and the title of the poem is Spring Thaw. No bells from the church, no birdsong. Under a darkening sky, she pauses to consider. Her shawl has tulip red and yellow stripes, while only brown resistant mud sucks at her moccasins. So she stands at the bright edge of snow, feels the familiar tug and push of tasks and wishes, and walks again, hoping lilacs in each slippery step.
Yeah.
And the artist whose work I was looking at is James Scott. Oh, so the funny thing is that actually it was a different one of hers that I read about. And I guess I got the titles mixed up. So, but what's interesting is that I think it'll work anyway. Which one was it? Well, it's the one that's up in the front.
It's the one at the lobby called First Snow.
First Snow, it's called Snow, which actually fits with my road, which is, anyway, it's all right. After inside of James Scott's A Winter Afternoon. I come here when I want to be alone. Nothing much will be achieved. I come here with a bent heart. The mountain is an envelope, an eye within, nearly, almost, healed, shut. A frozen pond
A creature streaks, low cloud, flame, dart. An opalescent temperament, the gate. A broken arch to enter by. 3 plain, 3 stone, 3 hearth. What's frozen now will thaw, reveal a spell. I come here when I want to be with friends, or if there are no friends, then better still, undone by fire. My prince, my queen, my bear, my one who will draw me out and place me back, a jewel inside myself.
This is Seeking Shade, Elaine French. We haven't met, but we know her. I had no idea that the poem had the same title until it was done, and I realized, oh, that works. Seeking Shade. With gumboots and shovels, we roamed the green valley, changing patterns in ditch water flows. With spring's new arrival, we rounded and gathered, shepherding sheep in birthing time's throes. With the death of a ewe, we took skin from the dead, sewing it to a lambless mother. With the smell on her cloak, she took on a foundling, budding head of a skinless mother. With a wee pink we milk-fed it by hand, tipping nibbled bottles to babas. That was the spring I was 16. He, the son of a ranging sheep farmer.
Yeah.
I'm Brian, and my poem is in response to Nancy Stewart's painting, A Trip to Trips to the Cities.
She's not here.
And she's not.
Good, good.
I'm sorry, she's not. Anyhow, here's my poem. In the city, you ride to the ball in a taxi, lurching through night smells of bubble gum, hot dogs, and popcorn, into a theater-lined corridor where the air is infused with caffeine and marquees with neon bright icons laze your way to the palace door. And in the celebrity crush of the lobby, adrenaline sense of tomorrow blend with the iris and bergamot of century-old perfumes. In the city, you sleep in a tower, soaring over labyrinth and ring road, finding your way back at midnight lit by your crystal shoes. Breathing into your memory foam pillow, you dream always of gilt-framed paintings of ancient buildings in flame, like the conflagration of sunset in the endless high desert sky.
Well, I'm here to prove that Ekphrasis is not just the domain of the female. My name is Stephen Schneider, and I've written a poem about this painting by Karen Blair. Karen. We've corresponded a little bit, but this is the first time we've met. I want to thank Paul and Andrea for inviting me to participate in this reading, and it's really a pleasure to meet other poets and artists here in Taos. I live in the Rio Grande Valley of South Texas, and so I couldn't help but work in a couple of Spanish words in my poem. And those words are testimonio, which means testimony, and cuento, which means story. You know, with Ekphrasis, it's always interesting for the writer to work their way into the painting. And for me, what drew me into this painting was the truck, which is named Old Blue. And so my poem is titled after the painting, Old Blue and Aspens. You would have to look hard to find a testimonial in this painting, absent as it is of all political content. An old blue Dodge truck, a stand of aspens, the solitary mountain in the background, but a cuento. Ah, that is another story altogether. What are you doing here, old blue? Set out to pasture like an old stallion in its final days. Nestling beside the stand of aspens, your owners nowhere in sight. Your red eyes staring blankly out at the world. Your gait crippled by years of hard riding. This is the third section. In your glory years, you galloped down the roads between the mountains and the river, carrying brush and bags of fresh apples from Des Montes. You have many stories to tell. Nights out under the stars, tracks that you raced in your prime, your secrets tucked, seek discreetly under your sky blue hood. Thank you.
My name is Michael Smith, and I wrote my poem in response to Joyce Weiner's summer student. Is Joyce here? I was in Oregon when I received my watercolor. So I have absolutely no idea where this is at. However, I was on a writing residency, and every day I looked out my cabin window, and this is what I saw. Okay. The title of my poem is Three Summer Blanket Tonkas and a Pillow Haiku, and it's in 4 parts. Earth pillow, blanket stream, last autumn's crinkling leaves, an invitation. Within the bracing current, new currents, fleeting currents. Streaks, blotches, dabs, shades, layers of the one current. The rock dreams smooth. The universe says its number is 4. Lone, water, sky, light. Time is the secret spoken by the great river. Listen, the cicadas. Summer's portal to these two, my waters. Frozen, I grasp. Blossom, I embrace. Falling, I watch myself watching flow. Thank you.
I'm Judith Thompson, and my poem is in response to work by Dave Sullivan, who appears not to be here, and his work is titled Wild Swans. Seven swan maidens. You cloaked yourself in the woods and spied, like a voyeur. Later, you claimed love, but it was your fire for dominion and my girlhood that stained the lake red pink. My second skin taken, and with it my flight. My 6 sisters gone, winging home, and I was left in human form in the dawn, waiting for my fate. I begged until my voice was won as well, but you refused me my feathered cloak, offered me your mundane wool, and declared, we will wed upon the morrow. If only I had my sharp beak and fearsome wings, but my enchantment was taken, as was I. My graceful neck once proud, now bowed to shield my hatred from their eyes. I did as bid, bore you a daughter and a son. I did as I dared, suckled them on their lineage and told them one day they would fly, even half true as they were. I told them the wild swans of dawn and dusk were my sisters who called my Cygnus name. You notched and loosed your arrows on them, obsessed with rape or death. You donned my stolen skin, rose in ungainly flight, but failed to shift your shape. My sisters dove from east of the sun, tore away your tongue, your heart, my now bloody cloak. Naked, voiceless, you plummet, sky stained red like the waiting lake. I cloak my signets close and we soar. By dawn, we'll be west of the moon.
I'm Leslie Ullman. My artist is Bob Cooley, who's actually a friend of mine. And he's in Zimbabwe, which is no surprise. He's either in an exotic place or he's on a ski slope. But I really admire his work. He's a very versatile artist. And he loves rocks, and so do I. My poem is called Rock While Not. Rock, while not a provable absence of thought, is clearly indifferent to fluids and rivers of thought in which humans are silted and bound, and sometimes rent by catastrophe. Passions and betrayals subsiding to leave a thread of spent floodwaters below dizzying walls. Smaller rocks tumble there, weakened currents caressing, hushing, rounding the broken edges. A large rock sits in the pasture of the nervous mare, somehow dragged or flung there, allowing itself to be circled for hours, ignored, and finally nosed. By then, the mare is calm, calmness having also been prized from a history, a composite of upheavals and floods, absorbed and then forgotten.
I'm Andrea Watson. I'm delighted to have written a poem on a piece by Ekphrasis, whose work I have loved for years. The color pieces. Sometimes it's good to go last. The sky is red. After Red Sky Mountain by Ekphrasis. Today the sky is a red willow basket. Stain it with beetle heart, blood of prickly pear, pomegranate and desire, 11 ravished stars. This is the color you have always woven. Now tell us what this red must be called. Cinnabar, snake dragon, Tilapoli, Anato, Sha'a, oakberry, Shiloah, vermilion, birthing sun, Sha'agwa'at, bloodstone, tamarisk, Fa'ane, Mishkwa, ochre tinge, Hookah, dance the secret root, Luta, electric temper, Kukain. And what does Winter Mountain want of the sky? Narrow thunder awakening shoots, snow threading along the hedgerows, this agate rebirth of stake and strand, holding golden reeds of the god box, healing gilded tears of the god's eye. Tomorrow the basket is a willow red sky.
Nice. Paul, I would just like to say, because I'm sitting here seeing the paintings and the screen, just to invite everyone to see the originals. It's a little embarrassing, but it did help. But please walk around and see the artwork.
Absolutely. Let me reinforce that after, right now though, we're open for any questions. And if you have a question or a comment, I'll ask you just to go ahead and stand in case you want to ask an artist or a poet something about what you heard or what you saw tonight.
Paul, I would like to say something about...
Please.
this painting, in 1929, there was a young protege of Mabel Dodge Lujan. Her name was Miriam Hapgood, and her parents had sent her here to get over depression. She was a young unmarried woman at that time, and she found this house, and she was sitting on top of the roof writing a letter to her father because she wanted him to help her buy it. And she says, "I'm sitting on the roof and this marvelous line of trees is at the base of the mountain. And so this is the view. I live in her house now." And this painting is actually about the ghost trees at the base of the mountain, because every winter and early spring they just vibrate. They're just so white. And this is what this painting is actually about, is the ghost trees, and then the umbilical cord to the Pleiades from the lake.
Can everybody, well, of course, as Judith said, go look at the painting and look at it up close, but there it is on the
You really
screen.
practice it very nice.
Thank you, Brent, for sharing that. Judith?
Well, I kind of wanted to comment about the poem that I wrote on, where did it come? Because I started off, I'm just so impressed with what Ekphrasis does. That's what I really want to talk about. And I thought this was so idyllic. No, that's all right. I just thought it was so idyllic, and therefore, and I'm English sheet, and then so I was so surprised that it all changed when you're challenged as a poet, and the poets are just hanging on their coattails. But that concept of being challenged and you're surprised, and it's as though creativity is not making something up, it's sort of spitting something up, it's model. And so getting into death, and all that was true of the poem, and how the ranchers have all these clever ways of saving the babies, and how to do all, and getting into life and death, and how it all was taken from an idyllic scene but turned into something entirely different.
Surprised you.
Yes, and here's to Ekphrasis, so to speak, you know.
Any other comments? Well, if not, I want to point out that a number of the poets brought in publications, books, so they're available if it is an opportunity for you to purchase one of their anthologies or their books. So please browse the table. But also, as Judith said, please take a moment and now revisit the work that's installed throughout the halls here at Town Hall. And I want to thank the poets again for taking on the challenge. I'm not going to say how they were assigned or given certain works, but it's just been a wonderful event to listen and learn. And thank you all for coming, and thank you, Taos Watercolor Society artists, for sharing your work with us and with the poets. Thank you.